We got a violent tornado down coming up on Amory, Mississippi. And here's the deal. We're not using these words to try to frighten you. This is a special situation. We have many tornadoes where the threat is much lower. You might have an EF0, EF1 that's a threat primarily to mobile home structures or to vehicles. This is a tornado that can level a home. So this is an urgent call a situation here. The National Weather Service using words they don't typically use with this type of deal. This is an extremely dangerous, likely catastrophic tornado. So again, Amory, Mississippi, this thing is coming up on you quickly, 60 miles per hour. So think of a highway speed in a straight line, not through curves up and down hills. This is a straight line, 60 miles per hour. So let me zoom out and let's look at this thing together, where that warning polygon is going to be. So there's your tornado right there. So you got just a little bit of time before it moves into West Alabama. Not much, but it's coming. Let's look at the warning polygon. There it is right there. So again, it's making more of a northeast jog. So this is going to cross Interstate 22, somewhere between Hamilton and Scottsville, or the Bexar area. In fact, we got a camera that's an algo camera. I'm going to check that out here in just a moment, Taylor. That's going to be sitting right there. I think it's on exit 3 there, 3 miles off the Alabama state line. So this thing is going to be very close to that tornado pretty soon. We've got a little ways to go before it hits there, but we're going to look at that algo camera here in a moment. But again, northern portions of Marion County, generally Hamilton, all the way up to the Scottsville area, you're in the direct path of this very dangerous tornado that is moving your way. And the tornado is on top of Amory right now, Amory, Mississippi.
And Richard, I just want to kind of point this out real quick. So nobody in Lamar County is under a tornado warning. However, Detroit, you are extremely close. I would go ahead and just take your tornado precautions just to be on the safe side. I know you're not under the warning, but you are right there next to the county line, and this could easily jog a little bit to the right, and then you're in the path of it. So if you're in Detroit, very far northern Lamar County, I would just go ahead and take your tornado precautions just to be safe.
So again, absolutely, North Lamar County, even though you're not technically in it, let's be sheltered to be on the safe side. This is a unique situation. Let's zoom into where this tornado is right now. Then I want to do a path on this thing. So there's the debris ball. We can see that, the debris dropout. And this thing is on the north side of Amory, Mississippi. So again, there's Amory. There's your very large, violent tornado. This thing most likely is a mile wide. Understand, we are sampling air. Taylor, we're sampling air very close to the ground level. So it's not like we're seeing this debris ball that's wider, several thousand feet up. Most likely, this is within a couple hundred feet of the ground.
That and the Weather Service, John DeBlock, this debris 15 to 20,000 feet up.
20,000 feet?
So just to put this out there, so studies have shown that debris at about 10 to 15,000 feet is indicative of a pretty strong tornado. That's EF2, EF3. This is 15 to 20. This is very serious, people. We don't want to use these words very often, but this is a very dangerous, deadly situation. If this is lofting debris at 20,000 feet, that's easily EF3 higher strength. This could easily wipe anything off of foundations potentially. So this is very serious.
So this is one where you need to take advantage of your local storm shelter if you can. If there's a fire department, fire station that has a storm shelter nearby, you need to take advantage of this thing because this violent tornado is coming up on western Marion County. There's Amory. It looks like the debris ball passed on the north side of downtown Amory, Mississippi. But again, it's coming up, that's Highway 25, and let's go out in a wide view and show you this thing. So let me zoom out and let's take a look at the path of this thing because we need to get people in shelter as fast as possible. The debris ball on this thing is gigantic. Again, now on the north side of Amory. There's Smithville, by the way, Taylor, Smithville, Mississippi, a very well-known community hit by an F5, EF5 tornado April 27, 2011. This type of tornado is probably similar to that tornado. Quite frankly. So, again, this is a violent tornado that could be an EF3, EF4, EF5 standard. And again, we're not trying to hype this thing up. We're not trying to use wording to frighten you. We're just trying to let you know this is the real deal with this violent tornado. That's Smithfield, Mississippi, and then next up is going to be into Marion County in Alabama. So let's tell you what, let's zoom out. Let's do a track on this thing because it's moving northeast at 60 miles per hour. So let's show you where this tornado is going to go. And I'll do a cone here. And again, there's your violent tornado right there, moving northeast just like that at 60 miles per hour. So move this out to 60 right there. And again, these are the computer estimated times of arrival. This is what time the potential tornado could be where you are. It is homecoming week at the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and this game will be a once-in-a-lifetime event, not because of football, but because of something that's out of this world. An annular solar eclipse across the United States, and in perfect timing for the Alabama-Arkansas game at Bryant-Denny Stadium, where more than 100,000 fans will experience this together. I had an opportunity to visit the observatory on the University of Alabama campus to discuss the differences in solar eclipses. I met with Dr. Dean Townsley, Associate Professor at UA's Department of Physics and Astronomy.
In the case of an annular solar eclipse, the apparent size of the moon is not as big as the apparent size of the sun. Of course, the sun is much further away, but also larger. So sometimes the apparent size of the moon is slightly bigger because it's a little bit closer to us in its orbit, and it'll cover up the sun completely. So that's a total solar eclipse.
Here's what it will look like. The partial eclipse will begin in Tuscaloosa at 10:37 a.m., then slowly gain coverage over the sun until the peak of the eclipse occurs at 12:07 p.m., right in the middle of the Alabama homecoming game. At that point, nearly 60% of the sun will be covered by the moon. The eclipse ends at 1:42 p.m. So what is a safe way to view this eclipse?
If you have a piece of paper or something, you can punch a hole in the piece of paper, right, just with a pen, and then put that in the sun so that the shadow lays on some flat surface, and the image of the hole will actually be an image of the sun, and when the eclipse is going on, you'll actually see that crescent shape of the eclipse in the shadow of whatever you've put the hole into. We also have, and some people may have these from other eclipses, solar filters. So these are pretty dark, actually, but darker than sunglasses, and that's also a safe way to observe the eclipse.
All righty, it is now 9 o'clock on this Thursday night. Richard Scott here with a weather update. What's happening with the tropics? A Hurricane Lee got some new information coming out with that storm. It is quite an impressive hurricane, one of the most rapidly intensifying tropical cyclones I've seen in Atlantic Basin. This thing is really becoming a monster storm. Fortunately, it's in the ocean. This thing is not approaching land in any way. There will be some big swells and rip current issues all up and down the eastern seaboard, but in terms of direct impact, looks like for now the storm stays out in the ocean. So that's some good news. This thing is really intensifying pretty quickly. And hey, I want to talk about football weather too, and all kinds of things going on. Do want to remind you too that we'll be doing this Facebook Live every weeknight at 9 o'clock. So right now you are just now joining us on Facebook, and we're going to be on here on weeknights as well, every weeknight 9 o'clock. So join us for that. All right, I want to show you this. This is Hurricane Hunter Recon aircraft. This is the observations they've made over the past hour or so, and they've been passing through this hurricane and the eye wall of it, and the winds they're finding inside the eye wall of the storm are truly remarkable. The pressures are dropping. It's one of the fastest increase in wind speed, the fastest developing tropical cyclone I think I've seen in a long time. One of the old records, have to go back to 1980. Hurricane Allen had winds of 190 miles per hour sustained. That's the strongest wind speed ever measured with a tropical cyclone in Atlantic Basin. So, you know, we'll see how close this one ends up getting to that. It had several tropical cyclones, 180 mile per hour winds. So we'll just see what happens tonight. I would imagine some point tomorrow we'll likely see this thing go through an eye wall replacement cycle. If that does happen, winds come down briefly as that eye wall replacement cycle happens. But just looking at some of this stuff, you look at the top right image there, that is the wind speed within the eye wall of the tropical cyclone. You see it spikes at about 157 knots. That is 180 miles per hour. Not sure if that is actually indeed winds down to the surface or not, but the hurricane hunters, they're looking at this thing. They're going to come up with a new update, the National Hurricane Center at 10 o'clock, and let us know what this thing is. But based off of what I'm seeing tonight, there's no doubt this thing should be a rated Category 5 as we get that 10 o'clock update coming up in about 1 hour. So, again, very, very interesting to see what happens with Hurricane Lee. As of the 5 o'clock update, winds were 130 miles per hour. Let me go back and show you that. Winds are 130 miles per hour, pressure 953 millibars. Now, they have recorded, the hurricane hunters, I believe, 928 millibar pressure in the past 30 minutes. And that is just a remarkable drop, indicating a strengthening tropical cyclone. If you look at the satellite, I mean, it's just a perfect looking storm. The symmetrics are good. Everything, the deep convection right around that small eye is just perfect. So we'll see what the hurricane hunters find tonight and how long this thing will maintain this type of intensity. Again, it's going to fluctuate over the coming days as it continues out in the Atlantic. I want to mention, too, we got another tropical storm in the eastern Atlantic. That storm is going to head out to sea, no impact to the U.S. at all. So, again, here's the track on Hurricane Lee. Again, this should be Category 5 at the next update. They've got winds spiking at 165 tomorrow. It may go higher than that. And you see that track towards the U.S. I think after Tuesday, this thing quickly makes a right turn, turns north, and doesn't impact the U.S. mainland in terms of a direct hit. I think this thing stays out. All right, talk about weather tomorrow, what we got coming up. And again, we got temperatures in the upper 80s. Humidity is going to be low for Friday, so that will be very much welcome. So we'll, take any kind of break in the humidity as we can. Low 60s in the morning. Hey, that's awesome, right? High school football tomorrow night, Friday night, 83, those 7 o'clock kickoff times. Now, if you're north of Tuscaloosa, you could already be in those upper 70s at 7 o'clock. We'll all drop into the 70s during the ball games and then somewhere in the low 70s sometime late tomorrow night at around 10 o'clock as those games begin to wrap up. Hey, Longhorns coming to Tuscaloosa, Bryant-Denny Stadium. Alabama taking on Texas. That's Saturday. It's going to be tailgating out in the day. The peak temperature should be around 89 or 90, sunshine, low humidity. Kickoff 6 o'clock for the Bama game, 84. Final whistle there, 76. Clear. I think we're looking good for that game. Humidity low again. Auburn on the road. They're heading all the way out to Berkeley, California. Auburn taking on California. 5 o'clock our time. They'll be at 73. Their kickoff is 9:30 Central Time. So it's going to be a late game. If you're watching the Auburn game, it's going to be up to, midnight, 1 o'clock. It's going to be a late game for the Auburn Tigers. So that's the weather for that. 60s over Berkeley, California. So here's our local weather. And again, we got temperatures in the upper 80s through the weekend, maybe pushing 90 on Monday. And then we'll drop back to the 80s. Some clouds and rain chances coming in on Wednesday and Thursday. And one good thing is this big trough coming in will keep Hurricane Lee from getting anywhere near central Alabama. So this thing is not coming in the Gulf, not coming our way. Big trough will keep that thing from happening. So that is good. So just want to show you that. Showed this earlier for folks that just now joining us. Hurricane hunters are in this storm now. They're looking at Hurricane Lee, and the winds are very impressive tonight. The pressure is really low. This thing is most likely Category 5 now. We'll get that official update coming up in about an hour or about 45 minutes from now. Hurricane Center will let us know how strong Lee is officially. So that thing is just a wicked hurricane. But the good thing is it's out in central Atlantic. It's not going to impact the Gulf of Mexico in any way. I think that's looking pretty good.